We'll jump right into it. So thanks so much, everyone, for joining me at the group, The Future of Digital Supply Chain in a Post-COVID-19 World 2.0. Today, I will be discussing real-time supply chain visibility in a post-COVID-19 era. Before I begin on this topic, I wanted to introduce you to Controllant and what we stand for. Our company's mission is to improve products' quality and safety, as well as reduce global cold chain waste by 70%. We believe that technology plays a vital role in achieving these goals. Having insights in real time allows organizations to move from a position of reaction to prevention. And it empowers businesses to make smarter, science-driven decisions that comply with industry-specific regulations. We also believe that collaboration and information sharing will be important, moving forward to mitigate risks and strengthen the supply chain as we move through the phases of COVID-19 and well beyond that. First, our clients find value in our three pillars. First, with our reusable hardware. Our hardware is a mobile Internet of Things wirelessly connected data logger that provides critical information such as time, temperature, geolocation, and light events, as well as pressure sensing in truly real time. Second, our software. Our cloud-based platform provides users visibility into their shipments live across the globe, allowing them access to critical shipping information on active and historic loads. From this, the data can be used to improve programs and processes, and our software allows value-rich analytics and insights into supply chain performance and logistics processes. And then thirdly, our proactive partnership services. We focus on providing actionable insights so that our partners can focus on process improvements. We take care of the hardware pool management and offer intervention services, which we affectionately refer to them as MARS, or Monitoring and Response Services, to intervene on an organization's behalf to minimize the need for resources when managing a 24/7, 365 program. So let's review some of the challenges that supply chains have been experiencing since the beginning of this pandemic. It's important to remember that your suppliers are under the same pressure as manufacturers and retail locations. And all parties desire to fulfill orders, especially with necessary goods like foods and pharmaceuticals. Although this may be out of their control for a variety of reasons, as we all know. However, due to the pandemic, many companies are experiencing a loss of employees. And in some cases, companies are requiring or needing to backfill these with temporary labor. And employee shortages can have an impact on product safety when temporary employees are filling these gaps. These employees are trained quickly to complete a specific task and keep things moving, but potentially leading to product quality loss. In many on-site audits, and monitoring activities have been canceled or restricted in addition. And additionally, this is primarily focused on limiting potential infections. As the other side of this, we see a ramp up of virtual audits, but simply stated, these can never replace the on-site audit from a quality or improvement perspective. There's also an increased risk to economically motivated adulteration, especially as it relates to utilization of suppliers who you may be unfamiliar with, or cost challenge, or costly ingredients, or high value materials. There continues to be a reduced internal movement of goods as well. And this can be seen through continued border shutdowns and restrictions at time of delivery. We've all experienced the stresses of COVID-19 on the global supply chains, as they have been pressed to their limits. Current strategies aimed at global efficiency are no longer enough to keep up with the new normal. In the coming months and years, supply chains must become future-proof by incorporating a culture of resiliency. Three key characteristics that define corporate resiliency are agility, visibility, and sustainability. These include virtues that are not new to the supply chain, but the pandemic has accelerated their importance. And they will have an outsized impact on the performance of the supply chain in the future. And let's discuss agility. We have all had to learn to be flexible through this very interesting time. And we've all had to learn to think differently about how we manage our business. And visibility. We all need real-time insights into our supply chain. But what we found is that most companies do not have this kind of visibility or are relegated to legacy technologies, programs, or technologies. Next-era insights allow for real-time visibility and the ability to actively intervene. And then sustainability. This can imply many things to many different people. But what we mean is that the new supply chain is being developed to minimize costs and waste. And besides, it means sustainability of your business and the ability to keep your doors open, especially during this trying time. It is also important to note that through these interesting times, that companies are rethinking plans such as Lean. And as we are all aware, these programs work really, really well in normal times, but these are not normal times. And these programs we're noticing and finding the pitfalls of these issues. For instance, outages and shortages. We all like to say that we're agile, but as we've learned through this COVID-19 crisis, that we're not as much as we'd like to be. And organizations are finding that they are reducing complexity in their systems by simplifying processes, reducing waste, and improving operations. Contingency planning plays a critical role in supply chain agility, which means having multiple approved sources for ingredients and materials. In addition, this may mean holding more inventory for necessary ingredients, and those that have longer lead time or are from countries or regions of concern. Whenever organizations can use predictive analytics, they can make decisions at a business level that improves processes. This might mean considering what could happen in the near or longer term, such as another lockdown, and preparing for it by building higher levels of finished goods inventory than you may typically hold during standard operations. Supply chain visibility is about more than just knowing where your inventory is at a particular time, but how well component parts, APIs, or products in transit can be traced as they move through the manufacturer to their final destination. Implementing efficiencies and gaining real-time actionable insights is the goal of supply chain visibility. Removing silos. Nobody likes to admit it, but we all have silos within our organization. These cause barriers to success in meeting goals and priorities. A dedicated and concerted effort must be made to identify and tear them down. But how do we do it? You do it through better technology, communication, and collaboration. And then you empower your teams by bringing all stakeholders together to develop a series of requirements and align goals and objectives across the organization. This requires listening and accounting for all teams members' opinions. This is how you break down those barriers. And then integrated efficiencies. By removing barriers to success, teams can work together to help meet each other's goals and priorities. Logistics teams can optimize freight lanes, which reduce temperature excursions along with processes and other improvements, as an example. Sustainability is always a critical consideration. And as we work through this pandemic, it's taking on new meaning, not just saving the planet, but also saving your business. It's a balancing act. It certainly takes significant work to rebuild a supply chain, as many of us have had to do over the last many months. But this could include implementing new suppliers, shippers, distributors, as well as warehouses. And then make sure you make the right investments. This means financial, as well as those technologies that provide the most value as quickly as possible. And investments and partnerships that actively play a role in implementing innovative technology on your behalf. And then consumer preferences. These have changed. And this goes without saying, that today's purchasers and consumers want to know what they are buying is ethically sourced and environmentally friendly. COVID-19 has not slowed this down at all. In fact, it has been shown that companies that are perceived as sustainable are winning in the marketplace. So now let's look at a few case studies that show the value of leveraging technology. to build resiliency through better collaboration and information sharing. Here's an example of how real-time visibility identifies issues in the supply chain so that corrective actions could be taken in truly real time. In this example, a pallet had chipped over during transit that affected airflow at the product level, but the ambient temperature readings inside the reefer didn't signal to the carrier or the driver that anything was wrong, which is a very common scenario in the industry. The ambient air temperature at the product level readings from our real-time data logger alerted our monitor and response services team that something was amiss. Our team contacted the carrier and the driver as soon as the alerts went off so that a proactive action could be taken. This helped save the product, eliminating the necessity for ordering a replacement product, and remove the blame game that often ensues to determine who pays for an affected shipment. It also helped to minimize any downstream effects of the stock outage. Actions and root causes can be registered into the shipment information in the control software platform. So a record will then exist that can be used for audits, insurance, and other purposes. So let's jump into another case study. With the current pandemic, getting the products to the patients and consumers is more critical than ever before. This is an example of a freight shipment of 10 pallets of pharmaceuticals worth approximately 30 million US dollars, which was being shipped from Dublin, Ireland to Shanghai. And as part of a pharmaceutical product launch, this was meant to fill the respective market's pipeline. And as you can imagine, this is a mission critical shipment that had to go right. At the Dublin airport, our IoT data loggers sensed the temperatures at the airport were simply too low. And this set off an alarm that was sent via our software dashboard, email, and SMS to stakeholders. This required action to be taken, at which point intervention then occurred, which in this case meant moving the product to another storage area, which successfully prevented damage to this vital product. The next thing that appeared during the shipment were that the pallets had gotten split when they had been shipped on different flights. All of this was visible to the consumer or to the customer in real time. Due to the product's importance, this was being monitored closely by the manufacturer's quality team. The freight forwarder was notified that the split had happened and facilitated an intervention with the pallets being combined once again once they were received at the final destination. The products made it safely to their end user, which meant that the medicines were spared from loss because of not one but two saves for this particular shipment. During the pandemic, this has become even more important for critical shipments and products to get to the consumer's hands. We can't afford to lose vaccine doses unnecessarily due to an avoidable temperature excursion. And as we've discussed, it's important to bring key stakeholders together from the beginning to get buy-in, including from logistics, quality, finance, and supply chain, as well as sustainability and many other cases, external partners. When looking into a real-time information that can help you, I would recommend selecting a historically problematic lane or a challenge within your supply chain. Then plan a pilot with a defined scope, duration, and number of shipments and results that are expected. Then use the results to determine the next steps. Then each team will see the value of their real-time solution at this stage. And for instance, logistics teams, they will be able to reduce or eliminate stockouts, decrease short storage costs because there is a shorter release times and more predictable deliveries. In addition, savings can include decreased spending on custom packaging materials because the data shows what works and what doesn't. Ultimately, they can see trends in supplier logistics performance, as well as external points of interest like airports, harbors, and crossdocks. And then for quality teams, they can decrease excursion rates and the amount of time spent on shipment reviews. They can get complete visibility of shipments, as well as full compliance and reporting of audits. And then reduce insurance premiums. What we generally find is a decrease in risk generally translates to a lower insurance premium. What about reduced waste? Loads that can be saved, which means no replacement nodes are needed. And then supply chain departments. They can optimize routes, thereby reducing fuel costs and saving money. In addition to having better understanding of where their shipments are and live, they can track key metrics that are specific to their supply chain, like longer than usual dwell times, pallets that are separated, shipments arriving at the wrong location, and other issues that may occur. And then sustainability, which has grown in importance over the last many years and is now critical to each of our businesses. By significantly decreasing wasted products and reducing your carbon footprint, we may begin to deliver on our customers' and consumers' demand. And what we found is that businesses often save millions of dollars annually in operational and product costs ongoing after rollout. Plus, by working with Controllant, the historical data that can be compiled within the comprehensive analytics dashboards. And this long-term information enables companies to make better, proactive decisions about their supply chains, their suppliers and logistics partners, and external points of interest. And then we build technology as our foundation. Through the United States FDA's new era of smarter food safety, food companies are actively investing in new and state-of-the-art technologies to bend the curve on foodborne illness. In addition, the pharmaceutical industry is actively investing in technology as well to safely deliver billions of COVID-19 vaccine doses in the coming months as they become available. And then we gain insights, not just data. We find that most companies already have enough, and perhaps more than enough data, but what they lack is insights. And this allows them to make significant changes to improve their programs. Predictive analytics are critical. Utilizing big data to provide previously unavailable insights allows key decision makers to improve their supply chain programs through science-driven decision making. And then dream big. One critical failure of organizations is to consider what they will need in 10 years, not just what they need immediately. Simply stated, they think too small. Consider the breadth of available options that are set before you, and choose those that will set you up for success many years down the road, not just what you need right now.